In this video, I will be showing you how you can store information on the RC522 RFID module with Arduino. So we're making a project where every single time we scan this key fob right here, it will increment a number and put it on here so that we know how many times this has been scanned. And so I'll be showing you how to connect up the circuit, and I'll be showing you the code it takes to get this project working. And so without further ado, let's get started. And this now here is the circuit right here. So the first pin is SDA pin. This pin will be connected to pin 10. And then we have the SCK pin, which is right here. This pin will be connected to pin 13 right here. And then the MOSI pin, which is right here, will be connected to pin 11 on the Arduino. Then we have the MISO pin, which is right here, and that pin will be connected to pin 12 on the Arduino. Then we have the G&D pin right here on the module, and it will be connected to G&D on the Arduino. Then we have the RST pin, and this pin will be connected to pin 9 on the Arduino. Then we have the 3.3V pin on the module, and this pin will be connected to the 3.3V pin on the Arduino. This is important to note that you must connect this to 3.3V pin on the Arduino because this module can only take 3.3 volts, and no higher than that. So you can't connect it to the 5V pin on the Arduino, or else you will break the module. Okay, so basically that is how you connect up this circuit. Okay. So now here is the code. So the first thing we do is we define some libraries. We find the SPI library. You don't have to worry about installing this one because it's already pre-installed in the Arduino IDE whenever you download it. This helps us so that we can communicate to the module because this module uses the SPI communication. And that's all we need, really, and the SPI library will deal with everything that it needs to communicate to the module. And then next library we have the MFRC522 library. This is actually for the module, and we actually have to install this module on the Arduino IDE. So how we do this is we just go here, and we can take this name right here, just copy it and search it right here. And as you can see, this pulls up MFRC522 by the GitHub community. Now you can go ahead and install it. I've already installed it. You can install the newest version. It will be like this basically down here. There will be an install button. You just go ahead and click it, and then it will be installed into the Arduino IDE. So then the next thing is we defined two pins, pin 10 and pin 9. We just put them into variables. So the number 10, which represents pin 10, will be stored into the S_pin variable. And then the pin 9 will be put in the RS_pin variable. And then also we name our instance, which is our module. We name it so that we know which one we are calling to, because sometimes we can have more than one module in a project. So we just give it these two pins. And then all the other pins that we've connected to the module, the SPI library would deal with all the rest. And so then we go ahead and we need to get something called a key. Now, there are multiple different kinds of keys here. First, there's a key that's unique to each card. But there's also a key that is like a password to keep the information. Basically, we have to get this array that is storing this key, which we call it right here. We just do MFRC22, and then we just do MIFARE_key. This array will be storing the key, and this is the array that will be doing that. It's called key. And so now we have that, so now we can go ahead and put our key in here and it will check if it's correct. And so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set up a variable called block. Now basically there are many different blocks and structures on these cards or key fobs, but the thing is that some of them are not so good to put information in there because there's already information in there that's important for the card or the chip. So if you do stuff with it, you could ruin it. So it's important just to access block full because that has nothing in there. You can store whatever you want in there in that block. Of course, there are many other blocks as well that you can use. And this is just basically the basics on how to get information stored on the chip. Then we go ahead and go to the void setup. We go ahead and set up the serial model. Then we're just going to go ahead and set up the SPI library. We'll basically just set up the communication to get us ready so we can communicate to the module. And then after that, we go ahead and set up the MFRC522 library and get the whole module set up and ready to go. So that's basically what we do here. So then we can go ahead and set up and make our key to be able to access the chip that is on this key fob. Now you can change this key but by default, when you get these chips new, they're always like this. As you can see, each one of these are stored in one slot. So that means there are 6 slots in this array. Okay, and this is a whole key right here. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to set every single slot in this array to FF. So that's what we do in this array. We just go through and we iterate through this array right here by setting I equal to 0, and we'll continue looping this for loop until I is no longer less than 6, and every single time we loop this for loop, we will increase it to go through every single slot in this array, which is the key and then key bytes right here. So then after we're done making the key, then we go ahead and say scan code on the serial monitor to tell us that we are ready to scan the code. After that, then we go into the void loop, and we go ahead and do the first thing. So the first thing is we have to make sure that there's a code present, and that's what we do here. So if there's not a new code, then it will return. That's what it is. And return means that we will go all the way back up to the top of the void loop and continue over again. We will not continue on the rest of the code unless there is a code present, which once there is, then it will continue on to the next line of code, which is here. This checks and sees if the code is actually readable. If it is readable, then it will continue on the code. But if it's not, then it'll come back up to the void loop and continue doing this code over and over again until both of these cases are passed. And so then after that, we go ahead and print code detected on the serial monitor, telling us that we are able to read the code successfully, and we're going to start doing things with it. So the next, we tell the MFRC522 library and that we are giving it a variable where it needs to put the results of us reading and writing on the chip. So in this case, what this means is that every single time we read and write, it will give us a result if the reading and writing was successful. And it will put this information in the status variable now. Since we have defined it, we said we want you to put this information in this variable right here. So that's what we did right here. We just asked it to put that information in here so that we know the results of the readings and the writings of the chip. And so then we can go ahead and do our first action down here. And basically here we are going to ask for authorization to be able to access this data that is on the code or key fob. And so basically we have to give it information to be able to access this data. So what we do is we give it which type of key are we going to use, because there are 2 different types of keys actually to be able to access the data in here. There is key A and key B. In this case, we're just using key A. After that, then we can go ahead and give it the block. This is telling us which container in the database of this key fob or code do we want to access. And then after that, then we give it the key right here. This key right here is the actual key of the code or key fob that we are trying to access the data from. After that, then we give it the actual code UID. After that, if this has been accepted and we can continue, then the status variable right here, the information would be stored in the status variable. If it wasn't passed and something failed, it would also put it in the status variable to tell us it failed. So then we have to check if that was the case, if we passed or we failed. That's what we do right here. We come down here and we see if status is not equal to status OK. If it's not equal to status OK, then that means things are not OK, and that means it failed. And we come into this part right here and saying serial.print authorization failed. But if this is not true, which means the statement is true, then basically this is okay, and that means we have passed and are able to access the information now. And so then that's what we do. We go ahead and set up a buffer, which is an array called a buffer, and it's 18 slots in length and size. And this is where we're going to be storing information that we get from block 4 of the chip that we are reading from. And then also we have to get the size of the buffer as well. And we're going to put that size into the size variable, because the next step we do is we actually go ahead and read this information. So right here, this function right here reads the information for us, and we give it the block that we want to read, and the buffer which is the array where it's going to put the information and the size of this array. After that, then it's going to give us the status if it was successfully able to read this information or it not. After that, then we go ahead and basically the exact same thing that we did up here. We check and make sure if it was passed or it's failed. If it failed, then we say read failed. After that, then we go ahead and turn this buffer array into an integer. So basically, right now, this data is all mixed up into different arrays and different slots in the array, and it's not in an integer. We have to convert this information into an integer, and that's what we do. After that, then the number that we have currently stored in the key fob will be put into the counter variable as an integer. And after that, we go ahead and increment this number by doing count plus plus, which increments the number. After that, then we go ahead and do print new number on the serial monitor, and we go ahead and print the number. So then after we have incremented the number and also put the number on the serial monitor, that means we have done everything we needed to do with this number, and it's time now to put the new number into the chip that's in the card of key fob. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. We do new data. This will be storing the new information that we currently incremented, or the new number that we have incremented. And as you can see, it's a char right here, because that's the data type that we have to have the data in for us to be able to send this information to the card. And that's what we do here, is we just can go ahead and convert counter into a char data type right here. And we put that information into new data. After that, then we're ready to write to the module and tell us to put this onto the card or key fob. And that's what we do here. We go ahead and do that. We give it the block, the part of data of the storage where we want to store this information. Also the data, we got to convert it into a byte right here. So the new data will be sent to the card in a byte. And then we would say 16, which is the size of this new variable array right here. After that, then we need to read the status and see if we were successfully able to write to the card or key fob. Right here we say if status is okay, then we say count updated. If this is not true, that means it failed, and we say write failed. After that, then we go ahead and shut down everything. We basically say, okay, we're done communicating to the module, and then we just go ahead and delay 1,500 milliseconds. This makes it so that we don't have multiple reads all at once. And so basically that is the code. So now we go ahead and see our project in action. Okay, so now here is the project. And as you can see, we have our scanner. So I'll go ahead and scan this right here. And as you can see on the serial monitor, our new number is 30. And now I've tested this before, so it's already counted up a good bit of times, but we can see that it's 30. And we just do tap it again, it's 31, 32, 33, and so on. And so basically this is the project. If you like this video, consider giving this video a like. Also comment down below if you have any questions, and consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. Thank you everyone, have a great day.